beginning, your deepest desire was for the freedom that comes with complete awakening. He goes on to say in page 121, being fulfilled means going beyond everyday experience. At a deeper level, human beings have always longed for ecstasy, a feeling of euphoria, joy, peace, and love. He goes on to say, addiction to drugs and alcohol, I will add, relationships, jobs, and anything outside of you is evidence of our society's starvation and longing for true ecstasy. Everyday happiness gives us only a taste, leaving behind a hunger for more. Happiness then is the beginning of a journey that reaches for higher fulfillment. He goes on to say on it is possible, the next page, 122, it is possible to expand your consciousness until it merges with God consciousness. The answer offered by wisdom tradition is yes, but for the individual, the only proof lies in experiencing that union. A life division is required. We have to make a choice to live from the inside or to live from the outside. When we are motivated to be satisfied from the outside, we believe that things on the outside will give us what we are looking for. They could never. Happiness, contentment, a feeling of joy can only come from within. We've tried drugs, we've tried relationships, but anything that suggests a separation from God leads to more pain and suffering. When you get to realize who you really are as a spiritual being, knowing that all that you have need of is already within you, a sense of peace comes and life begins to be full of fun. You can live without suffering. When you come to realize that all relationships will fail and fade and pass away, but the only true relationship that lasts is the one you have with yourself. You seek to find yourself, and in finding yourself, you can share yourself with others in a meaningful way, not demanding of them anything, not expecting of them anything, but giving to them all of you. Is that all right? You're very quiet. Aren't you? Too quiet for my liking. That means I got to think about this lesson. Because I thought I was only able to come and just give it, but like you're listening. In the book, and on the paper that you have, on the little booklet you have, your life flows with effortless spontaneity. It means that this thing we call life is always flowing. It's what you take and do with it that causes you all the suffering. If you leave it up to life, you will just flow. There will be no disasters. There will be no panic. There will be no fear. For the only thing that life does is flow in and flows out. And where does it flow out to? In the universe, in God. It's all God. And life is an instrument of God that is always flowing in God. As Paul says, we live, we move, we have our being in this realm of goodness. Think about it. You could never be separate and apart from this source, this substance that we call God. It was in the beginning. It is the only thing that is, that was, that will be. And we just have an experience in it. We put so much energy in what could be, what will be, what should be, and we miss out on living. Just accept. Just accept. Things will come, things will go. People will flow in, and people will flow out. But once you have consciousness and awareness that you are here, make the best of it. Don't spend time thinking of how you could stop the flow of other people. Spend time trying to flow. Don't let addiction to things, to people, to situations cause you to stop flowing. Addiction happens when we allow our minds to create a craving for something outside, and our brains become hardwired believing that that something will lead us to the place of ecstasy. We might experience it in the beginning, but the craving that follows, you will never find it again. Don't ask me how I know. I read it in a book. And I believe the book was true. Your life, take a look at you. If life was not flowing in and through you all the time, you would not be here. It doesn't stop. From the time you were conceived, you have been expanding and growing, reshaping and becoming. All because life is flowing through you every moment of your life. Think about it. When you accept your oneness with life, or God, or the universe, something happens. You begin to operate out of love. Love means unity and oneness. No more separation. One of our problems is because we feel disconnected from God, so we seek connection with the outside. To love is to allow other people to flow freely, not to stop their flow. You see, a lot of us believe that love, when you're in love, you own. It is mine. So it creates friction. When there is love, people have a right to be who they are. Freedom. When you free something, it frees you. There's no difference between the slave and the slave master. They are both looking at each other, waiting for the other one to die so they could get freedom. But when you are truly one with the other person, one with your job, one with wherever you are, you flow because there is no anxiety, there is no fear, there is nothing but oneness. And where there is oneness, there will be peace and contentment. So you don't have to take your job at home. You don't think of having to think about tomorrow because you know yesterday I was happy. And because life flows to me freely, I will be happy. We don't have to plan for anything to happen. It will happen because love allows things to flow freely and there's no anxiety. If ever you're experiencing a sickness or an illness, however you put it, apply love. Start loving yourself and let that love, true life, flow through you. To experience love, you've got to separate yourself from anything that is unlike the nature of goodness. You've got to stop eating from the fruit of good and evil. And you've got to start blessing everything in your life. And when you start blessing, you become blessed. It says, when you begin to operate out of love, you are discovering hidden sources of creativity and imagination. Because your mind is not focused on destroying and separating and proving, you enter a state that all your mind can do is to create newness. That the imagination is awakened to the possibilities that are available. You're not restricted by lack of growth. Growth becomes a flow. When you begin to operate from a place of love, there are no differences because you are now one with. It's an established state of oneness. Where there is oneness, there can be no separation. There can be no better or no worse. There can be no need to improve somebody else or try to fix them. But there is acceptance, respect, appreciation because you understand who you are, who they are. And you can have compassion, empathy, and realize that everybody has a right to their action. As a result, have a responsibility to accept the reactions that take place, just like you. Don't rejoice in somebody else's failure. Comfort them. This is love now. When you begin to realize that nothing on the outside can fulfill your hunger and thirst for righteousness, you begin accepting higher guidance. You turn within. And as we say, you can hear the still small voice within you trying to direct you as you continue to grow forth in the fullness of yourself. You are a creative being. You create your life experiences. Your thoughts are powerful seeds that you plant. And every seed will bring forth the fruit according to the nature of the seed that you planted. If you plant seeds of love in the soil of love and water with the water of love, you could only produce love. When you enter this state of love, you are forgiving. That means nothing that happened yesterday is important. What is important is now. How do I feel now about everything, every person, every situation in my life? How do I feel now? I don't bring things back. I don't do the moon dance in life. I put a foot forward and another foot forward, and I keep going. I like to reference the pink bunny. I keep going. Forward, forward, forward. Because the pink bunny does not have a reverse gear. It only has a forward gear. As Paul says, I place my sight to the things before me, forgetting all that is behind me, because I know the price or the prize is before me. And when I get that prize, I'll be happy. My quest is to be happy. If I am not happy, why am I alive? Ask yourself that. If you're not happy, why are you alive? If life is a constant toil, full of suffering, why am I alive? If there is no hope for a bright tomorrow, why am I going forward? When I operate out of love, and I go back to the beginning of my creation, in that garden of unity with God and the whole universe, something happens. My choices are based on staying in the garden because I want to enjoy the whole garden of goodness. And I keep in my mind that duality breeds death and separation. I don't want to die. I want to experience, to travel all the full length of the garden, which I could never because it's infinite. And I know wherever I am, I can experience the love, the peace, the joy, the happiness. Jesus puts it this way. The kingdom of heaven is not a place that you say, lo here, lo there. It's in the midst of you. It is at hand. It's right where you are. But you cannot find it unless you turn within. You can't find peace relying on money. Money is necessary as a way to experience the things that you need to experience in the day, but the love of it, the addiction to it, is the root of all credit card debt. All the things that you're working to pay off comes from the love of anything outside of you. When you begin to live and let this universal flow experience itself through you as you could say, as the psalmist said, the Lord shepherds me, and I lack nothing. That means I have a mental state that says, whatever I have need of, this space, this energy, this spiritual substance that is always available to me, will support me, will supply me, will do everything that I need to be done. This is a mental state that is brought about when you come to realize that as a spiritual being, you are one with the universe. You don't need to go outside of the universe to get anything. All that the universe has is yours, and it's right here as spiritual energy. And if you keep your mind stayed on that part of you that is spirit, you can always get an idea that brings hope and brings fulfillment. Stop going to your friends for answers. Go within. Stop depending on Deepak Chopra to tell you what to do. Listen to spirit, and it will guide you. For wherever you are, Deepak and spirit are one, and they're within you. So you don't really need Deepak. Say with me. Wherever I am, God is. God is all there is.
God is all there is.
I lack nothing.
I lack nothing.
Take a moment and believe that. See, a lot of us believe when we hear things, once we could get it, we believe it. No. Belief comes through work when you can prove it. When you wake up in the morning and the presto card has disappeared, you got to get to work. And because you don't deal with money anymore, you don't know where to find it. And you walk out of your house knowing that the Lord shepherds me. Green pastures, running water, and all that I need to get me through this day, God will supply. Have you ever been there?
Yes.
You ever been there?
Yes.
Has a virus ever gotten hold of your body and you feel like death? As you wheeze and cough, you feel, this is the day, this is the day. And suddenly something says, see yourself whole. And suddenly you wake up from that mire, of that illusion of death, and you feel alive. And by the time you reach to work, the sneezing gone. It happens when you connect to the source within you. The first thing we do when a virus takes hold, we run to the drugstore instead of running to the health store that which is within you. Tell me what to do, God, and listen. They tell us that this time of the year is that season to go get a shot. And then we become dependent on the shot. And then we become addicted to the shot. And we don't allow spirit to flow free. Every virus is a living part of God. It must go through your body for you to get stronger. Can't kill it. Just use wisdom and understanding. Part of your divine nature. I'm not saying if you're into the flu business, go ahead. Go get your shot right now. According to your belief, it will be done unto you. So don't listen to me and go tell people, Evan, say not this year. I'm telling you, doctor, no, my minister said no flu shot this year. If you believe you're going to catch it, you already have it. I'm just telling you. The wonderful thing about New Thought does not try to get you to a place called heaven. It tries to help you find peace in your life. We are not in the conversion business. We are in the transformation business. We try to help you transform the way you think so that you could experience through the power of love all that God is already in your life. We don't try to help you become a member here. It would be nice because as a member, we guarantee you will give offerings and tithes. Be nice to know. That's why we sent you out a pledge card asking you to pledge so we can plan a budget for next year. That's why we do that. But you can still come here. We will not harass you. And coming here is not dependent on your going to heaven or hell. If you live in heaven in your mind, you will be there. And if you live in hell in your mind, you will be there. Has nothing to do with us. What we try to do is to help you change the way you think about yourself as you get rid of the theological idea that God is a force outside of you and place this God presence at the center of your being as life itself so that you could begin to use the life force that you are to live a healthy, happy, and prosperous life. Everything in your life is dependent on you beginning with your belief system and what you think is right. When you start changing what you used to think as right and begin to realize that wherever I am, there is this good presence and power that is the source of my supply, and I am connected to it daily, momently, every minute of my daily life. I am one with this. When you get to realize that the nature of your thoughts will develop into your life experiences, you will begin to change the way you think and start to think right beginning with yourself. You start telling yourself, I am creator of all my domain. Everything around me that I observe to be comes from in my head. In fact, what I do is I use the information that I behold to be true in me, and then I forecast everything outside of me, and I put a shadow on even the good outside of me. So sometimes when people are trying to do good to me because they look bad inside of my head, I reject them and I keep suffering. You ever had that? When somebody is trying to force themselves on you. But because your mentality certain people are right for me. All the good that they're bringing, you never get. Until one day something happens. You're walking down, I'm not predicting this. This is an analogy. It's a metaphor. One day you're walking down Bay Street and you step off the pavement and a bicycle hits you. And the first person that comes to bring love and to lift you up is the person that you hate. And as you look up and you see that your body gets stiff because resentment. And then you release, you let go. And wonderful things begin to happen. It may not have happened in that way. Has it happened to you in another way? Talk to me. This is an interactive session.
Yes.
So speak to me. Anybody wants to come and testify? Has anything ever happened to cause you to change your mind or change your belief about people?
Yes.
Sometimes kindness comes from the people you don't like, and the people that you expected to come from, they walk away. Story is told about the Good Samaritan. Hello now. Hello. Man got injured. And people of his own national and ethnic compartment passed by and left him alone. But a stranger from a different country came and picked him up, took him to an inn, left enough money to help him until he was healed. Has that ever happened to you? Are you ever now a good Samaritan? It's nice to say what they have done for me. Have you done it?
Yes.
It doesn't matter how many people do it to you, because you could do it once to the least amongst us. Something begins to change. Love. Love. Have you ever really loved? The ability to let people be who they want to be. Let them do what they want to do. Hello now. Let them say what they want. I love Donald Trump. He has a right to say and do what he has to do. And I respect him as a human being because I respect my right to do what I think I have to do. You may not like it, but that's my belief. That's his belief. And he has a right. When you could do that, something happens. You stop condemning, you stop criticizing, and you stop developing toxins inside of yourself that will kill you, and he will still live till 96. Woo! Wake up! Do unto others that you will be done by is the proof that love can be achieved. When you start accepting people for who they are, that's who they are. Don't set out all your life to try to change people. Set out in your life to change you. You're going silent. Start looking after yourself. Make some mental shifts in your life. Don't separate people and put them in boxes and in corners. Enjoy all of them. I love you because you are you, a child of God, just like me. The only thing that makes us different is what I have in my mind about you and myself, and what you have in your mind about me and yourself. But we are one. Can we do that? If you are looking for peace, if you want to find contentment, these are some of the things you have to do. You've got to begin today to tell yourself, wherever I am, there's only good. Turn to somebody and say, I am good and so are you.
I am good and so are you.
Tell them they don't need to change for you.
You don't need to change for me.
I love you the way you are.
I love you the way you are.
Wow. Isn't that liberating? Yes. Say wow.
Wow.
That's liberating. When you realize there's nobody to hate, you don't set out from home in the morning with a list. Contentment. Enlightenment begins when you come to know that as a spiritual being you are in the process of becoming, and every moment, every person, every situation that I am with is part of an opportunity for me to come to terms with this wonderful flow of energy that passes through me. Passes through everyone. The same, without color, without distinction. It just is pure energy, spirit, moving and growing like the wind. And just blow with it. Just free yourself from all these thoughts that causes you to be uptight and resistant to change. Things will come, things will go. Don't become so addicted to anything that it cannot leave you or you can't leave it. You have a nice diamond ring, $24,000. It falls off your finger and it's gone. Don't spend the rest of your life trying to find it. Find the diamond field within you and wear yourself as a diamond ring.
Hallelujah, salvation and glory, honor and power unto the Lord our God. Sing hallelujah, hallelujah, salvation and glory, honor and power unto the Lord our God. For the Lord our God is mighty, and the Lord our God is omnipotent. The Lord our God is wonderful. Sing hallelujah, hallelujah, salvation